And while paper beats rock, it does not beat the other teams on your schedule. Dallas currently riding a 3-game losing streak, failing to hold on to their lead in the NFC East, now tied with the Philadelphia Eagles. You can choose who's to blame for the 6-7 mess. Is it the players? Is it the coach? Is it the owner/general manager? Or you can ask Troy Aikman. Listen to what he had to say.
It's unlikely that Jerry will ever bring somebody in that can help this football team in that regard, just because he's been real stubborn and steadfast in that he's the one in charge. And I think in a lot of ways, until that changes, this team's going to have some problems.
When you can cut out the person between the decision maker and the people doing the recommending, then you can make quicker, more succinct, and more responsive decisions. Nobody ever has had the final say but me. Now, you know, I really don't like to say that, but that's a fact. And so when we don't do good, we all know who the ultimate total responsibility. And pro football, the guy that ultimately has the responsibility for paying the bills, makes the decision.
Nick, we know that Jerry Jones, the general manager, has actually done a pretty good job of picking the players. But is Jerry Jones, the owner, holding the Cowboys back from being great?
Well, no, because you can't separate the two. I mean, the Cowboys' problem is not Jerry Jones. And the owner's job is to provide resources for the team to succeed. And Jerry Jones has done that in spades throughout his career as the Cowboys owner. They have, at this point, either the second best stadium in football. Everyone talks about top-of-the-line operations there. So that's the ownership piece. You mentioned the general managing piece. Is Jerry Jones and his son, Steven, are they the league's best general managers? No. Do they have a top 5 front office in football? Probably not. But just look in the NFC East to remind yourself how bad it can be. You can be Washington, which has had more than a decade of Bruce Allen's mismanagement with an actual bad owner in Daniel Snyder giving the blessing to it, or look to the New York Giants, where you have good ownership in the Maras, but they can't get the GM position right, as evidenced by Dave Gettleman flailing about since he's taken over there. So the Cowboys right now are an underachieving team who are playing for a coach whose message has gone stale, is what I was trying to say there. But we also need to remind ourselves, at least in my mind, Broussard, the Cowboys do not have some birthright on greatness. They are not the Lakers. They are not the Yankees. They are as far as valuation, as far as the image of the team. The Yankees have been good in basically every decade in the history of baseball since the teens. The Lakers have been good in every decade since they were in Minneapolis. The Cowboys were dominant in the 70s. They were dominant in the 90s. They've been a good football team otherwise, with a real downtick in the 80s. We elevate them to a place that I don't know that they've ever actually earned, aside from the fact that they are the best marketed team in all of sports and maybe the highest profile team in our biggest major American sport.
So I disagree. I do think Jerry is a big problem. And you're right. He's drafted well with his son, Steven. They have talent. But the last 25 years, he's been running the show. And that quote we played from WFAN or from FAN The Fan 105.3 in Dallas, he went on in other parts of that, and he said, look, I've been involved from the beginning, from jocks to socks. Yep. That's his quote. He said, you can't exchange a player, you can't trade a player, you can't make a draft pick without me giving my approval. I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what he said. Okay, he put it on himself, because for 25 years since Barry Switzer was there, they have not won a Super Bowl. Okay, are they the Lakers? I mean, I think like you said, in marketing they are, prestige they are. Those are the 3 franchises of America: the Yankees, the Lakers, and the Dallas Cowboys. And for the Dallas Cowboys to go 25 years without a Super Bowl, 2 playoff wins in that stretch?
They haven't been to a conference championship game in 25 years as well.
This is all on Jerry Jones. And look, Jerry Jones, Troy Aikman said it. Anyone who's a non-player, any non-player who can steal Jerry's thunder, who can get more credit or is viewed as a guy who's smarter or just as smart as Jerry, he gets rid of Tom Landry. Now, I'm not saying it wasn't time for Landry to go, but he gets rid of Tom Landry. Jimmy Johnson,
out.
Bill Parcells, it doesn't work out. And he goes 10 years with Jason Garrett, who is the definition of mediocre. Jerry Jones, and then even when he took over, the Cowboys weren't known for drama. They're a circus now under Jerry Jones and have been essentially from day one. Before Jerry Jones got there, they were America's team. They were known for the uniforms, the cowgirls, you know, the great, you know, Hollywood Henderson and Drew Pearson, Tony, the great characters and personalities they had.
Aside from the Steelers, they were the team of the 70s.
Yes.
I mean, they went to 5 Super Bowls. They won 2. Their success in the 90s, they went to 4, won 3. They won 3 in 4 years, pardon me. In the 70s, they went to 5 Super Bowls. They lost 3 of them, so we look at the 90s as a better era. But they were, you're right, they were great.
And I'm saying the drama too. They were, you know, like now the Cowboys are in the news for drama. They're a circus.
But the news is also different now than it was.
Granted, but
right? Like, I mean, there's a lot of. I wonder how the Cowboys would have been covered in the 70s if these shows and the media existed the way it does today in the 70s.
But part of it is on Jerry Jones, because the reason that you can't just go out and get a great head coach is because you have to look for more than just, well, is he a great head coach? You have to look for a guy who, while Jason Garrett is mediocre, he was a great Jerry Jones head coach because he was never going to butt heads with him. He was never seemingly going to stand up to him, disagree with him. I wonder how much of all of this, whatever you want to call it, drama, noise, distraction, has trickled down to the players this season. This is more than in years past if we heard Jerry Jones after every game talking about kickers and whether we keep them. And
because they're disappointing this year. He's always talked after every game.
Not as much about the intricacies of what they're doing.
Because they're losing.
Right, but how much of that is it's chicken and the egg? Are the players hearing all that? Are they distracted?
I guess I don't think it's chicken and the egg. I think it is very clear the team is playing poorly. So Jerry, who always talks after every game, always does those Tuesday morning, I think it is, radio interviews on 105.3 in Dallas. He has less good things to talk about. And again, I'm not here to try to, you know, die on a hill defending Jerry Jones. What I am saying is, if we were to power rank league front offices, the Cowboys are in, I believe, the top 1/3 of the league. And if we were to power rank owners, if we were to just separate the two, Jerry Jones is in the top 1/3 of the league as far as what he has accomplished. I'm not saying they couldn't, it's impossible that they do better. I'm saying it would be so easy for them to do worse. And your point on Jason Garrett, I would rather my owner be patient with a coach than quick trigger. I think the teams that have constant turnover at head coach are always failures. And there haven't been a lot of clear and obvious exit ramps in the Jason Garrett era if you actually go year by year as far as what was the year he wildly underachieved prior to this one when you were going to fire him. I don't know.
I think you're expecting less from the Cowboys. And you look, again, what do they have? 5 Super Bowls?
5 Super Bowls.
I mean, that's second most ever. You mentioned top 1/3 ownership, top 1/3 front office. That's not good enough for the Cowboys. It should be top 5.
Top 2, top 3. I get it.
I just got higher expectations for him. And I think Jerry look, when he comes out, he overreacted to the New England loss. And I think he did it to light a fire under Jason Garrett and those players. They lost 13-9 in Foxborough. And you go off like they just lost to the Jets.